was a member of parliament. He is president of KwaZulu Natal International Business Association in Durban. Omi? Go ahead, Omi. You're on.
Thank you very much. Our president, Mr. Prakash Shah, our chairperson, Mr. Thomas Abrahams, distinguished panels of speakers, all protocols observed. Namaste, Vanakkam, Assalamu alaikum. Today we celebrate a very remarkable journey of Indian diaspora in Africa. Over the past century, Indians have migrated to Africa to the following countries: Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. During the colonial past and the era, we have woven ourselves into the fabric of these nations. They played a pivotal role in building infrastructure from the railways to businesses, laying the groundwork for economic growth as they settled in the new homelands. They persevered their rich cultural heritage and values, becoming living bridges between India and Africa. Today, the Indian diaspora stands as a testament of resilience and adaptability. They have not only thrived, but also contributed immensely to the cultural, economic, and intellectual landscape of their adopted countries. In a sense, ladies and gentlemen, the Indian diaspora in Africa, in East Africa, is a vibrant, dynamic community. Honoring the historic journey and celebrating the present-day achievements, they continue to serve as a cultural bridge, fostering identity, memory, and connection between India and the world. It also gives me pride to speak today about a truly remarkable journey of the Indian diaspora in South Africa, where I am a citizen. It was a journey of courage, endurance, and triumph, a journey that began 165 years ago and continues to shape the character and the destiny of our nation. Our history on this soil began in 1860, when the first Indian arrived in Natal aboard 3 ships, the Truro, Belvedere, and the Mlazi. They came as indentured laborers to work the sugarcane fields, facing hard conditions and many hardships. Yet, through resilience, discipline, and faith, they persevered. They tilled the land, built the communities, and laid the foundations of hard work and integrity upon which later generations have flourished. In the year 1893, a young lawyer named Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi arrived in Durban to represent an Indian merchant. His experience in South Africa profoundly changed him. Here he witnessed injustice and discrimination, but instead of responding with anger, he responded with courage and moral conviction. It was in South Africa that Mohandas Gandhi developed his philosophy of satyagraha, non-violent resistance, a philosophy that later inspired millions across the world and helped India achieve its independence. Indeed, Mohandas Gandhi came to South Africa as a barrister and left as a Mahatma, a great soul, to inspire the world and give India's independence. This is one claim we as South Africans are very proud of. That as South Africans, we can take credit that Mohandas Gandhi came as a barrister and left as a Mahatma and got India's independence. Today, more than a century later, the Indian community in South Africa stands as proud and integral part of the Rainbow Nation. From humble beginnings, our people have excelled in business, education, medicine, politics, law, and the arts and culture. Our temples and mosques and churches enrich the spiritual life of our country. Our music festivals, cuisine, add color and warmth to the South African life. As we celebrate 31 years of democracy, we also celebrate how far we have come as a united people. The Indian community has been part of the South African transformation, helping to build the economy, create jobs, uplift communities, and strengthen ties with India and the broader world. We are proud to be both Indian in heritage and South African in identity. Let us honor the sacrifice of these people who arrived in 1860 and the teachings of the Mahatma, who arrived in 1893, by continuing to live the values they stood for: peace, humility, perseverance, and unity. And as we look to the future, let us ensure that the next generation carries this legacy forward with pride in our roots, confidence in our democracy, and faith in a better tomorrow in South Africa and in Africa. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rami Singh. It was so nice to meet you when we had a meeting in Durban 2017, and you were a member of the parliament, and you took care of us when we had our visit to Durban and Cape Town. Now, I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned about Indian diaspora in the East African countries briefly, but Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania had large migration, I would say more than 1 or 2 centuries. Can you briefly tell about that migration, as well as to other countries like Mozambique and few other countries, even Gabon, French country also have migration. Any idea? Any? And I know recent time in the North African countries too. There are, and of course Ethiopia and other Nigeria too. There were a lot of teachers who migrated from India to teach there. Any insight into this?
Yes. To these countries that you just mentioned, there has been a small migration in these countries, and mostly as business people and teachers. Business thrived in the African countries, and in these countries that you mentioned, in particular Mozambique, there's a large Indian community there. I was very surprised while I was driving through not so long ago to come across a beautiful temple in the midst of nowhere. Actually, in the midst of nowhere. And when I stopped, went back to the temple and met with the people in the temple, they said to me that most of them are from India, that the only thing they do there is work with the community, local communities. And whilst I was there, school children from nearby schools all converge on this temple to have a meal before they go home. And they were giving nourishment to those children in that community. Now, it's very rare that when you travel through a country that you suddenly see something like this. And to enjoy this brotherhood of people that make the sacrifice just to see that the African child goes home not hungry and be able to come back the next day for a meal again. Yes, Doctor, these are the things that most of the Indian businessmen and people of Indian origin have been doing in African countries whilst doing business there.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer. And these are some of the things which we have to consider in terms of when we have the museum set up in India.